Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 6.
A Decatur man faces charges for possessing material that depicts child sexual abuse. Police say he used an Instagram account to commit crimes.
Plus, a shocking video we obtained of an explosion and fire just over the Alabama-Tennessee state line. WAAY crews are still cleaning up. A
special honor for several small businesses in Huntsville's aerospace industry today. What a NASA employee is saying about how these businesses help improve innovation. Thanks for joining us for WAAY 31 News at 6. I'm Nicole Williams.
And I'm Dan Schaefer. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children helped Decatur police in the arrest of a man who's now facing charges for possessing child sexual abuse material.
30-year-old Michael Asa Conville was charged with possession and intent to disseminate obscene matter of a child involved in obscene acts. WAAY 31's Maddie McCaffrey is live in Decatur now with details.
Yeah, through this cyber tip line, Decatur police were informed that there was an Instagram account posting child sexual abuse material. This led them to arrest Michael Conville at his apartment in Decatur yesterday. Now, police carried out that search warrant on Conville's apartment at Summer Courtyard Apartments in Decatur. During their investigation, it was determined that Conville is the owner of the Instagram account that contained child sexual abuse material. Police arrested Conville and he was taken to the Morgan County Jail where his bond was set at $7,500. I talked with John Shahan with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, whose thoughts were that that bond is seemingly low for this crime. Shahan says their cyber tip line received more than 30 million tips across the globe last year.
Work that we do makes a massive impact on victims and survivors of child sexual exploitation. Here at the center, not only do we take the reports, get that into the hands of law enforcement so the abuse can stop, those abusers can be held accountable, we also work with the technology industry, those victims and survivors to help get their content off of the internet.
And as of now, it looks like Michael Conville still is in the Morgan County Jail and is not bonded out. Decatur police say that their detectives cannot speak on this as this is an ongoing investigation. Reporting live in Decatur, Maddie McCaffrey, WAAY 31 News.
Thanks, Maddie. New at 6, a Fort Payne man will never likely leave prison after being sentenced for child sex crimes. A DeKalb County judge sentenced 36-year-old Travis Eugene Wolf to 220 years in prison after his conviction for rape, sodomy, sexual extortion, and sexual abuse. Wolf was arrested in 2022. A DeKalb County jury found Wolf guilty in June of 15 counts of sexual crimes against the minor.
A massive fire broke out this morning just over the Alabama-Tennessee state line.
That fire leveled a pallet company. This is what's left of Pallet Tech in Park City, Tennessee. After that fire started after a two-car crash sent a car into a power pole, knocking the lines onto a stack of wooden pallets. This shocking video recorded by one of the employees shows that blaze, even the propane tank flying out of it. You see off to the right there. No one reported any serious injuries, thankfully, from that fire. We're working to find out how that car crashed.
We're still seeing a spectacular weather pattern across North Alabama.
Not too bad. We'll check in with Chief Meteorologist Taylor Canoose, though, in the Storm Tracker Weather Center. We are monitoring a pretty nice evening today. Feel the warmth returning, though.
Yes, yeah, it is certainly going to warm back up by tomorrow afternoon. We had highs close to 90 in parts of North Alabama earlier today, but starting that cooling trend with several of us down to the 70s from Fort Payne through Gunnersville and Coleman, holding on to low 80s for the time being in Huntsville. It's going to be a terrific evening over at Lewis Crews Stadium for the Alabama A&M football game. Kickoff coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Temperatures will fall to the upper 70s at that point. Should stay in the 70s throughout the majority of the game under mainly clear skies. Really terrific evening ahead for any plans you may have outside. As far as tonight is concerned, we're looking at mainly clear skies, patchy fog possible, but likely not going to be a widespread issue. We'll see lows near 60 tonight and then back at it with the warmth by tomorrow afternoon with highs in the mid 80s for some. A couple spots could climb to the upper 80s. But once again, for high school football tomorrow night, should be good to go. Kickoff temperatures in the mid 70s, falling near 70 by the end of those games on Friday evening.
And don't forget to download our WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. You'll have 24/7 access to the 31 triple Doppler right there in the palm of your hand. It is completely free for all devices. And now to another thing that's free. It's a local food distribution to help people in need. WAAY 31's Jillian Kay shows us the new tool helping get fresh fruit and produce to people who need it most.
Park it Market. You heard her. The Food Bank of North Alabama calls their new tool the Park It Market. It's a truck that the food bank plans to use to take food to areas where people need it most.
Our hope is to have it out on the road every day of the week from now until we run the tires off of it.
The Park Market rolled into Huntsville to hand out produce donated by Publix. The grocery chain gifting a total of $225,000. Then food bank volunteers got to work.
We're excited about the change it can make in the community by making sure that they have access to locally grown or purchased produce.
Food passed out by the Park Market helped put meals on the table for more than 300 people in its first day of action. Jillian Kay, WAAY 31 News.
New at 6, a special honor for several small businesses in Huntsville's aerospace industry. They were recognized today during Marshall Space Flight Center's Industry Awards ceremony. The awards recognize outstanding achievement in the aerospace business community and service to NASA's mission each year.
Small business is critical to NASA because small businesses increase the industrial base of NASA. It provides us with the opportunity to which we can go ahead and use the innovation that small businesses bring and the adaptability that small businesses bring to support the agency mission.
Attendees also had the opportunity to meet with representatives from government agencies and contractors with companies like Lockheed Martin and United Launch Alliance. Happening now, if you're trying to land a gig at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, it's hosting a job fair. It started at 11 and lasts until 7 this evening. They're hiring full-time and part-time space camp counselors. You don't need knowledge or space history. You don't need knowledge of space history or technology to apply.
New claims for unemployment benefits tumbled last week to the lowest level since January. The Department of Labor says there were 201,000 initial claims for unemployment benefits for the week ending September 16th. That's a drop of 20,000 claims from the prior week. Weekly jobless claims remain below historical and pre-pandemic averages, showing the strength of the job market. In the decade before the pandemic, weekly claims for unemployment benefits averaged 311,000. Well, brace yourselves for a government shutdown because it seems likely to happen. It could happen in a little more than a week if a short-term funding bill is not passed by midnight on October 1st. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is under pressure by other Republicans to cut spending significantly or potentially face being ousted from the Speaker's chair.
I believe that it is really kind of frivolous in the cuts because they only occur for 30 days. I don't think it would lead to any programmatic reform.
All this while Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Washington seeking additional U.S. tax dollars to pay for his war against Russia. Some calling it a win for Senator Tommy Tuberville in his blockade on promotions for military officers.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calls for individual votes, but just a few nominees. ABC's Liz Landers has the latest.
Finally, some movement for military confirmations in the United States Senate after the Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was able to circumvent the hold Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville put on all military promotions for 8 months.
The motion to reconsider is made and laid upon the table.
Air Force General C.Q. Brown approved Wednesday by an overwhelming majority as the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Pentagon's top military position.
If confirmed, I commit to provide the President and the Secretary of Defense my military advice, informed by the Joint Chiefs and our military leaders.
But Brown has been the only promotion so far, with a couple others expected today. More than 300 others are still waiting for their confirmation vote. Tuberville of Alabama has been blocking some military promotions since February over a Pentagon policy that allows out-of-state travel for abortions.
If the Pentagon lifts the policy, then I will lift my hold. It's easy as that. That's been my position from the very beginning.
Schumer using a procedural maneuver to begin advancing confirmations one by one that would normally occur in blocks.
Simply put, besides the most extreme elements of the Republican Party, no one thinks this is a good idea.
In recent months, the administration emphasizing the strain that the delay poses on military families, and the Secretary of the Navy telling CNN the vacancies are threatening America's national security.
I would have never imagined that actually one of our own senators would actually be aiding and abetting communist and other autocratic regimes around the world.
And confirmation votes for the Chief of Staff in the Army and the head of the Marine Corps are expected later today. In Washington, Liz Landers, ABC News.
September is National Sickle Cell Awareness Month. We're sharing with you 5 things that you should know about sickle cell disease.
A NASA astronaut has reached an historic U.S. milestone by spending a full year in space. Why it was originally supposed to be just 6 months. Next.
The fall season officially begins on Saturday, but it's not really going to feel like it for a while. I'll let you know when the cooler weather returns to the Tennessee Valley, coming up next.
Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 6 with Dan Schaefer, Kel Williams, Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust, and sports with Nolan Knight.
A NASA astronaut has reached a historic U.S. milestone by spending a full year in space, all by complete accident. Frank Rubio was supposed to be at the International Space Station for 6 months, but that turned into a full year after his ride home, a Russian spacecraft docked at the ISS, was struck by a micrometeor, disabling it. Rubio is excited to finally return to Earth.
The reality is we're not standing, we're not walking, we're not bearing our own weight, and so it'll be anywhere from 2 to 6 months before I essentially say that I feel normal. Up here we kind of have the constant hum of machinery that's keeping us alive, and so I'm looking forward to just being outside and enjoying the peace and quiet.
Rubio is still shy of the world record for time in orbit. That record belongs to Russian cosmonaut Valery Polyakov, who logged 437 continuous days in the 90s. Tomorrow you can experience a special live stream event at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center about the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft. It's 2 days. In 2 days, it's 2 days in advance, rather, of that spacecraft's return, and will feature their mission manager. More information about the event can be found online.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust with 31 Triple Dot.
Right, we'll get to Taylor in just a moment. But it's National Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and while the NIH says more than 100,000 people battle this disease in the U.S., many don't know much about it. Mandy Gaither has 5 things to know about this condition and why early detection is critical.
It's a group of inherited blood disorders that cause a constant shortage of red blood cells. Sickle cell disease can lead to serious complications like infection, anemia, and pain.
The pain may be something they live with daily, or it might be not every day, but these sudden, severe attacks of pain.
Dr. Marianne Yee with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says the first thing to know about sickle cell disease is that people who suffer from it are born with the disorder and will have it throughout their lifetime. Also, it runs in families. Those at highest risk are African Americans and those from Hispanic, Southern European, Middle Eastern, and Asian Indian backgrounds. Third, early detection in newborns is critical to living a healthy life with this disease.
Begin treatments to prevent life-threatening infection. We can teach families warning signs such as fever or other signs that might be a serious event.
4, medications can help make the disease less severe, and regular blood transfusions can also help patients stay healthy.
One of the most important things that we do actually in young children is just starting penicillin as a daily medicine to take to prevent and reduce the risk of serious infection.
Finally, Yee says recent scientific advances are paving the way toward new treatments and maybe even a potential cure.
This is a very exciting time for research in sickle cell because there's a lot of active studies going on to try to help these people with this condition.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust with 31 Triple Doppler.
Another nice day on tap. Another nice evening, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect pattern continuing for us.
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah, no, we've had a pretty darn good week here. A little warm in the afternoons the past couple of days, and that trend will continue as we wrap up the week. But sitting pretty as we head into this Thursday evening. Let's take you out to Decatur, where it's still a little warm at 83 degrees, but it won't be long before we cool off to the 70s. Light winds, low humidity in place, which means quiet weather in charge as well. We can expect mainly clear skies across North Alabama heading into tonight. We'll be in the 70s through 9 o'clock, and down to the 60s we go after that. A handful of you could see lows in the 50s. 57 tonight in Fort Payne, 59 in Scottsboro, Athens down to 58, and we'll drop to 59 in the Shoals as well. So a little cooler to kick off the day tomorrow compared to what we saw earlier today, which means it may be jacket weather for some of you kids that head off to school tomorrow morning. Quick warm-up expected. Won't need the jackets by the afternoon, that is for sure. Mid-80s back in the forecast for a lot of us tomorrow afternoon. 86 in Decatur, 88 in Muscle Shoals, and a high of 82 tomorrow in Guntersville. Might be a touch warmer than that on Saturday for the first official day of fall. It's certainly not going to feel like fall around here, with mainly mid to upper 80s across the board. The hottest temperatures occurring around northwest Alabama, and then we'll drop back down a few degrees as we close out the weekend. 84 on Sunday in Scottsboro, and 86 to wrap up the weekend in Huntsville. The Huntsville City FC final game of the season, sadly, is on Sunday. 1 o'clock kickoff, which means we'll see temperatures back to the 80s at that point. Should be dry for that game, so weather looking good to go. And WAAY 31 will be out there, so make sure to drop by and say hello if you spot us out there on Sunday afternoon. Looking like it will be dry for tomorrow and throughout this weekend. It's going to be next week that we're monitoring the chance at a little bit of wet weather. It does not look like anything that's going to be terribly heavy or terribly long lasting, but the possibility of wet weather returns next week. Some of you might be okay with that after the recent dry stretch that we have had. So basically what we're going to see happen here is a very slow moving cold front move from the west into our area, and it more or less stalls out, and it's going to keep those daily chances of rain around. It does not look like a slam dunk that will have rain, so we're still keeping the odds of rain around the 30% range for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The latest modeling is now showing Wednesday with the best chance. But again, these change daily, and we'll keep you updated and should have a better handle of the exact timing of rain as we get closer to early next week. So be sure to tune in to our forecast throughout this upcoming weekend. Possibility of showers lingering late in the week as well. Bottom line is it should be a little cloudier, and we'll have those scattered showers around. That keeps the high temperatures cooler than what we'll see the next few days. We go from the mid to upper 80s Friday through the weekend, down to highs in the low 80s for the majority of the work week next week. Consistent lows in the 60s, here to stay through the extended forecast. We'll be right back after this.
Now, WAAY 31 Sports with Nolan Knight.
Well, fans are starting to file into Louis Cruz Stadium behind me. Football is in the air on this Thursday night as the Alabama A&M Bulldogs are set to face off against Arkansas Pine Bluff in their first home conference game of the season. And there's a different buzz in the air tonight on the campus of Alabama A&M as well, as the Bulldogs will be playing in a nationally televised game. Their matchup with Arkansas Pine Bluff tonight being aired on ESPNU. It's just the second time since 2021 that the Bulldogs have played in a nationally televised game. And there's that sense of a big game atmosphere tonight at Louis Cruz Stadium as well. The Bulldogs enter this matchup 1-2 on this year as they dropped their first SWAC game of the season just this past weekend at Southern University in a game that saw them really struggle to move the ball. The Bulldogs finished the day with negative 17 yards rushing in their 20-10 loss. And now the Bulldogs offense is hoping to bounce back tonight against an Arkansas Pine Bluff team that just got their first win of the season last week against Miles.
But, you know, the defense played well and stopping them from scoring, but they was having some long drives. I think the offense only had four possessions in the first half. So the defense played well. They was bending, but they weren't breaking. And to your point, we need those guys to have a couple more 3-and-outs to get us some more plays and to keep those other teams off the football field. But again, our defense played excellent last game. They played well enough for us to win the football game. We just didn't execute well enough on offense.
We'll see if the Bulldogs defense can step up again tonight. Arkansas Pine Bluff in the bottom half of the SWAC standings when it comes to total offense. Full highlights from tonight's matchup coming up tonight at 10 as well. How about we talk a little Alabama Crimson Tide football? And the quarterback drama seems to be coming to a close in Tuscaloosa. Nick Saban today on ESPN's 2 Pat McAfee show, despite the fact that he benched Jalen Milroe against USF, says that the quarterback has nothing to prove. He is their go-to guy.
We want our players, when these things happen, to direct their feelings in a way that's going to help them be better players. Jalen did that this week, and I'm pleased with his performance. He's got nothing to prove, here. He's our guy. He's the guy that, I have confidence in, and I just had a meeting with him a little bit ago and clean up some fundamental things and watch him play.
And speaking of Alabama quarterbacks, Bryce Young today for the second day in a row did not practice for the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers' first-round pick missed practice due to an ankle injury and is not expected to play against the Seahawks this Sunday. Longtime veteran Andy Dalton is expected to play in the rookie's absence. All right, well, that's going to wrap things up here from Lewis Cruz Stadium. Coming up tonight at 10 o'clock on WAAY 31, we'll have a full game recap and all the highlights from Alabama A&M's first SWAC home game of the year against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Reporting in Huntsville, I'm Nolan Knight, WAAY 31 Sports.
And WAAY 31 gives you 24/7 coverage you can count on, local news, breaking news, and severe weather.
Watch WAAY 31 on all of our streaming platforms and download the only weather app with 3 live Doppler radars. We'll meet you right back here at 10.